education only starts the minute you walk off the school premises. And the most important thing that any of you young people can learn from your school is not to reproduce yourselves, because that way you won't have to force any more people to go to the young offenders institutes that are schools. Really, they're just forms of prison, keeping you in, telling you when you can go to the toilet, telling you what you can wear, what you can't wear, and telling you what to learn. If you don't like your school experience, technically it's your parents' fault for bringing you here, knowing that they were going to send you to a government prison system. Have you noticed the similarities between prison and school? They've got security, they've got gates, you've got to be in a certain place at a certain time, you have to ask to go to the toilet, you have to wear a uniform. Why are you all complying with their demands to wear school uniform? Why don't you get together and have a meeting with the headmaster and tell them you're no longer going to do what they tell you to do? Or at least have a meeting with them to discuss it and to challenge them. The things you really need to learn, oddly enough, aren't taught to you at school. For example, logic and reasoning, which they don't teach you mainly because most of the staff don't know anything about it themselves. It should be compulsory for every school student to be familiar with all logical fallacies. If you do not know what a logical fallacy is, look it up on Google, because you are being misled everywhere you go, not just inside the school, but outside the school as well. Instagram is misleading you, Facebook is misleading you, the newspapers are misleading you. Every organ that tries to get into your mind is misleading you using logical fallacies. And you need to study these things so that you can spot when someone is telling you the truth or deceiving you. Don't get me wrong, I don't envy your teachers, because they've got an impossible job on their hands to try and force people to learn certain things in large groups. It's basically nearby impossible. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I apologise for disturbing you. This is a party political broadcast on behalf of the Expiry Party, a brand new political worldwide affiliation. We are the only party that have a solution to all of your problems. We are the only party calling for an immediate criminalisation of reproduction, which should have been done a long time ago and would have saved all of you the bother of existence. How on earth reproduction is still legal in 2019?
I came to speak to you. Justin's a bit busy right now.
What's that?
Yeah, Justin's a bit busy, our manager.
Right.
Justin.
Yeah.
He's going to come down a bit and stuff, and he's a bit busy and stuff. I was just going to wonder to ask, how long are you going to be? How long are you going to be today? It's a fair question.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. How long would you like me to be?
Well, realistically speaking, 10 minutes? Is that fair enough? 10 minutes to get your speech and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
No problem, bro. Yeah, thanks, man.
And we are calling for making reproduction illegal. This one political move will actually solve all problems, because all problems are created through reproduction. And now this young couple here have produced now a new problem here, very cute problem, but a problem nevertheless, who is very cute now but will turn into the average person around here eventually, which isn't really great, is it? And that's why we are calling for an immediate criminalisation of reproduction. And this move will save hopefully billions of people from having to come into existence and end up like you lot. Because frankly, it's all completely pointless. What on earth are you doing on the planet? Anybody? What are you doing on the planet, sir? What are you doing here?
We're not sure.
You're not sure?
Sure. Wandering aimlessly.
Just wandering aimlessly. This is what I'm talking about. This is why reproduction should be illegal. Because there's just thousands, millions of people here just basically not knowing what on earth they're doing here, just walking aimlessly. Look at these lot here. Just walking aimlessly all over the place. What on earth are you all doing here? Why did you come into existence? And this is why we, at the Expiry Party, the only political party that is calling for the most important change in the law, forget Brexit. Brexit? Who cares about Brexit? We care about reproduction, and we care about keeping that weapon of mass destruction to yourself. And therefore we are asking you to write to your Member of Parliament, whatever country you are, and demand that we make reproduction illegal. This will save our country trillions of pounds that we waste every year on things like schools, the NHS for children. We could save the country trillions of pounds and save you guys, of course, loads of money as well. A child can cost from £500,000 upwards. And what we do intend to do is to make contraception more readily available for free by giving out contraception on the streets to people who need them. Now, if you would like some free contraception, and you can at least promise us that you are actually in with the chance of action, we will happily provide you with the necessary covering to safeguard humanity from your progeny. Because, ladies and gentlemen, the weapon of mass destruction is not a nuclear bomb. The weapon of mass destruction is what's between every man's legs. That is the cause of all trouble. All trouble, all death, all violence as a result of that terrible, terrible weapon. And there are many people in this area walking around with loaded weapons who should never have them. Giving every man a loaded weapon was a sign of a crazy, mad creator who did not think it through properly. Look at the people here. Look, this guy here probably got a loaded weapon, right? For what? To create more people who just go along with the system, wear their suits, have their little laptops, and carry on feeding it all? Ladies, we at the Expiry Party, we have gatherings where we get you together and teach you to say no. You must stay clear of men who have loaded weapons. Have you got a loaded weapon, sir? Most of these men here do have loaded weapons, and it's scary. You need to stay away from them. They will ruin your life. Just like your dad ruined your mum's life. Because if your dad wouldn't have done that, if your dad would have taken precautions, yeah, he would probably have at least $500,000 more in the bank on average. Yeah, he'd have a holiday home in the south of France. He may or may not still be with your mum, who knows. And it wouldn't matter to you, because you wouldn't have the problem of being alive like this guy has here. So please do vote for the Expiry Party, a party committed to helping children claim compensation from their parents for all their problems, because they're the ones that caused all your problems, mate. You. Your parents caused all of your problems. That's right. I know. Without them, you wouldn't have any problems whatsoever. If you don't like what I'm doing, it's your parents' fault. Because if they didn't have you, you wouldn't be here to either like it or not like it. You'd be in the great void doing nothing, which is kind of similar to what you're doing right now, isn't it, guys? Nothing at all. I mean, is anybody actually doing anything here? Like, what are you doing here? Like, you, sir, on a deeper level, what are you doing here? Reproducing? Oh, no. Oh, no. Another one. Be careful of the breeders. Because I say hallelujah to those people who have not had children. I love you. You're amazing. It's difficult enough trying to get enough, you know what I mean, of my piece of the pie. I don't want some other little mouth to feed. Why did your parents have you? Is a question we've been asking you, sir. Why did your parents have you? Why did your parents have you?
Had a good night together.
They had a good night together. Should we unpack that? Should we unpack that? You mean to say that you're having to live through this whole crazy, dangerous, mad, insane existence because they had a good night together? It's not great, is it, really? That is a bit negligent on your parents' part. I'm sorry. I know it's harsh to face it, but it is negligent. But the good news is, that if that's what happened and that's why you're in existence, your parents owe you a lot of money. A lot. Just for bringing you here in the first place and having to go through this madness, they owe you 500 grand. Starting. And then you've got school, which basically is a form of kind of child abuse, isn't it? Institutionalised child abuse for 14 years. That's got to be worth $500,000. Unless you went to a nice private school, then maybe only 300 grand, unless you got, you know, abused, in which case it goes back up to $1 million. And then if you've had to have a job, that's your parents' fault that you've got to go to work every day. It's your parents' fault. What, just for having a good time one night? That is negligent. That is like even worse than drink driving. And a lot of it is under the influence of alcohol. Many of us are only here because one or more of our parents had too much alcohol to drink all those years ago. Yes, guys? You know who you are. Anyway, thank you very much and have a wonderful day. Social experimentalist, if you like what I'm doing. Sometimes it goes up there, but you're not the greatest crowd I've ever had to speak to. You can have them back now, security.